Hmm? Ini lagi join Zoom ya.
Mana Anak Putri. Nanti kalau sudah mau mulai, kabari saya ya. Kamu kayaknya belum hidup.
Mulainya sekarang, Pak.
Oh, mulainya sekarang. Udah mulai?
Iya, udah bisa dimulai.
Oh ya udah, oke.
Oke, Pak.
Tapi yang lain belum ada. Oh, udah. Oke, saya tunggu lah ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and may peace be upon us all. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan. Before we start the meeting, I would like to remind you again, to all the participants, make sure to turn your camera during the webinar. To all the participants, make sure to use your virtual background. During the webinar, please mute your mic. Rename your username with format full name _ institution. Lastly, we would like to inform all participants that at the end of the event, there will be a Google Form link sent in the comments column. Therefore, it is hoped that all participants will fill in the Google Form link that has been sent as proof of their attendance at this webinar, because certificates can only be obtained for those who have filled. Because certificates can only be obtained for those who have filled in the Google Form link. Once again, we would like to inform all participants that at the end of the event, there will be a Google Form link sent in the comments column. Therefore, it is hoped that all participants will fill in the Google Form link that has been sent as proof of their attendance at the Zoom webinar, because certificates can only be obtained for those who have filled in the Google Form link. So stay tuned until the end of the event. I would like to say good morning and welcome to the Honorable Arthur Price Dean of Economics and Business Faculty, Riau University, Mr. Rendra Wasnuri, SAMIB. Welcome to the representative of organizations in Economics and Business Faculty, Riau University. Welcome to the Honorable Chairman and Vice Chairman of Economic Faculty English Club 2024-2025 period, Hairil Randi Nurrahman and Wikel Noviantoro. Welcome the Honorable Project Leader of Webinar Model United Nations, Dairi Ana Putri Padang. Welcome the Honorable our amazing speakers today, Jose Nel Sigia, Isadora Monteiro, and Raflian Shah. Welcome to the Honorable Committee and to all participants of the webinar Model United Nations. And I would like to say welcome to webinar Model United Nations with them Winning Committee Strategies for Success in MUN. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Nadira Shakila and I'll be your Master of Ceremony in this event. It is precious chance for me to be your Master of Ceremony in these big occasions. First of all, let us thank to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us mercies and blessing so we can gather here in Zoom meeting on Sunday, 21st September 2024 in good healthy condition to join the webinar Model United Nations. May our event run smoothly until the end. Let's pray for a moment. I invite Muhammad Renaldi Saputra to lead us in prayer. For Renaldi, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, let us bow our head for a moment, pray to God Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, so that our webinar can be praises to all of us. I will lead this prayer based on the teaching of Islam, and those who are not Muslims, you're pleased to pray according to each of your beliefs. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Amma ba'du. Ya Allah ya Rahmat, today we want to hold a webinar with a request for your blessing and permissions. Make this MUN webinar a useful scientific meeting as a medium for sharing useful ideas, knowledge, and experiences from our speakers. Hopefully, this webinar that we are holding will be useful for our lives, expand our knowledge, brighten our ideas, and let us to become productive and successful people. Ya Allah, guide and bless our hearts and our minds with the light of your guidance. Impart your supreme wisdom upon our activities. Help us to speak our minds clearly. Help us to listen to each other, respect each other, love each other, so that we are included to the blessed person. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamu ala mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Renaldi. May we can follow this webinar from now until finish with good condition. Amin. Our next agenda is singing Indonesia Raya and Mars Mahasiswa. The first welcoming speech is from Project Leader of Webinar Model United Nations. Please welcome dari Ana Putri Padang.
Thank you to Nadira for your opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. First of all, let us thank to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala giving us chance and blessing so that we can follow the webinar this morning. And don't forget for blessing and greeting to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam by saying Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi Sayyidina Muhammad. The Honorable Deputy Dean Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Riau, Mr. Rendra Wasnuri, SAMIB, the Honorable Representative of the Organization Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Riau, the Honorable Chairman and Vice Chairman of Economic Faculty English Club, University of Riau, Khairi Randi Nurrahman and Wikal Noviantoro, and the Honorable our speaker, Brother Rafiansa, Sister Isadora Monteiro, and Brother Jose Noel Sidia. I say welcome to our all participants of the webinar Model United Nations, and thank you for attending today's webinar. The webinar is a good opportunity for us to learn and increase our knowledge about the Model United Nations or MUN, especially strategies to increase our committee's changes of becoming a winning committee and achieving success at MUN. I will also like to thank all of our wonderful speakers who were willing to share their knowledge with us today. I hope you all had a productive and enjoyable webinar. Feel free to ask questions or participate in discussion today. Thank you again for joining us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Dairi. The next welcoming speech is from Chairman of Economic Faculty English Club. Please welcome Hairil Randi Nurrahman.
Thank you so much, Nadira, for the opportunity. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. The Honorable Third Vice Dean of the Economic and Business Faculty, Riau University, Mr. Rendra Wasnuri, SAMIB, the Honorable Model United Nations Speaker, and the Honorable Project of the MUN webinar, Dairi An. First of all, let us thank to God because we are still given a chance today so we can join this webinar. I would like to also say welcome to all of the participants of the Model United Nations webinar. I'm actually so happy to have you all here as we are going to discuss important global issues and work together to find solutions. Model United Nations is actually just not about debates. It's more about learning to work as a team. We think clearly and tackle the challenges the world faces today. And I'm sure today we're gonna talk about interesting things, and of course it will be helpful for everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy and learn a lot from this webinar. Let's make it a great experience for everyone. That's all from me. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you to Hairil Randi. And the last but not least, Welcoming speech is from our third Vice Dean of Economic and Business Faculty, Riau University, and at the same time, we respectfully request to open our event webinar Model United Nations 2024. Please welcome Mr. Rendra Wasnuri, SAMIB.
Okay, thank you, Nadira. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Is it my voice is very clear or not? It's clear enough, isn't it?
Yes, it is
Yeah,
clear.
thank you very much, Randy, for feedback. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Distinguished guests, respected speaker, and all participants. It is with great pleasure that I welcome you today in seminar Model United Nations. We are honored by your presence and participants. This event is platform for exchanging the idea, sharing the knowledge, exploring innovative solutions related to the what we call it strategic for success in Model United Nations. I would like to express my deep gratitude to our esteemed speakers who have taken the time to share their valuable insight with us. Your expertise and experience are available to a success to the seminar. This event would not have been possible without hard work of the organizational committee and support all of the students and the effect, especially. I think you all for your dedication is commitment for great opportunity for faculty of in the futures. I hope today discussion will provide new perspective, inspire us for all to contribute to the advancements. Let us make a most of this opportunity to engage fruitful discussion, network with one another. Once again, thank you for joining the seminar. I wish you all productive, successful in seminar. And then secondly, I have to open the seminar, isn't it, Nadira? Yeah. With Bismillah, webinar, Model of United Nations, officially I open it. I think all my work about this Model of United Nations, and I come back again to the Nadira Sakila. Thank you.
Thank you to Mr. Rendra Wasnuri. Before we moving to the next agenda, we would like to invite all of the honorable guests and participants to join the photo session. Please turn on your camera. We will start with the formal pose. I will count in 3, 2, 1. Once again, still formal pose. I will count in 3, 2, 1. Okay, maybe once again, still formal pose. I will count in 3, 2, 1. Maybe next pose will be FX sign. You guys can show your hands with 3 fingers, made a letter E. All right.
Okay.
I will count in 3, 2, 1. All right. Thank you to our honorable guests and participants. Ladies and gentlemen, we will enter our main event today, which will be led by Tahara as our moderator. To Tahara, time is yours.
All right, thank you to Master of Ceremony for giving me chance. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and greetings to all of us today. I would like to say welcome to the webinar Model United Nations with the theme Winning Committee Strategies for Success in MUN. Today, 21st September 2024, with me, Tahara Anantaputri, who will be the moderator of our discussion this morning. Hopefully, we will be given a smooth process until the end of the event. It's such an honor for me to meet everyone here. I'm so happy seeing your excitement, and we would like to thank you for your participation and enthusiasm in attending our event today. This webinar is very special because we will hear interesting presentation from three speakers who are very competent and experienced in the Model United Nations field. Let's greet our speakers who are present with us this morning. There is Jose Noel Shigia from the Philippines. Are you here, Jose? All right. Hi, Jose. And then
Hello.
we, all right, hi. And then we also have Isadora Monteiro from Brazil. Hi, Isadora.
Hi everyone.
All right. And finally, we also have Kak Rofiansyah from Indonesia. Hi, Kak Rofiansyah. All right. Before we start the event, I will tell you some provisions that must be obeyed by all participants during the webinar. First, during the presentation of the material, participants are not allowed to interrupt. Second, the question and answer session will be open after all presenters have finished delivering their material. Third, and I would like to remind you that the committees will select one participant who is the most active today to get a door prize. So the criteria for the most active participants are, first, you have to open your camera during the webinar. Second, you have to use the virtual background that has been provided by the committee. And the last one, you have to be actively answer the ice-breaking questions and actively ask questions during the Q&A session. I hope all of you guys can pay attention to our provisions and the criteria for the most active participants. All right, but the next agenda is the delivery of the material from our first speaker. But before that, I will introduce our first speaker. All right, here is our first speaker. He is Jose Noel Gishigia. He is from the Philippines. He has a lot of experience in MUN. For example, he is experienced in the Benilde Model United Nations in February until March 2024. He is awarded as the best delegate at Asia Youth Model United Nations 12th edition in 2023. He also experienced and awarded as the honorable mention in Polytechnic University of the Philippines in 2023. And then he also awarded as the honorable mention in the Philippine International MUN in 2023. And then after that, he also awarded as the honorable mention in Asia World MUN 5th edition in 2023. Without further ado, let's welcome our first speaker. Here we have Jose Noel Di Shigia.
Hi everyone, good morning. Am I audible?
All right. Hi, Jose. It's so good to see you
Hello,
today. How are you?
hello.
Hello. How are you
Okay, great.
today?
So I'm
Yeah.
good, right? Like you guys can see me, you can hear me. Hi everyone. Good morning. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you so much. So good morning everyone. I could see we're almost like 200 people here. Like that's great. Yeah, good morning. Good morning. So
I,
before I start, maybe we could share the screen or the presentation first.
okay, we will share the file of the presentation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but while we waiting for the operator, maybe I will like to ask you first, how's you feeling today as the speaker for our webinar in this morning?
Thank you. I feel a bit sick right now, to be honest. Just traveling around. I'm actually in Jakarta right now, Indonesia. It's for an event, and yeah, I wanted to visit Riau if I could, but it's a webinar. So yes, I'm still excited. This energizes me, and I am just pleasantly surprised that we have a lot of people who are willing to listen about MUN. I think not all of the participants know about Model UN, so I think this is a great primer or a great refresher for them. So yeah.
All right, it's so good to see you that you're feeling well today. All right, I think everyone's is looking forward to hearing your presentation right now. So maybe we can start right now. To who said time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. So good morning, everyone. My name is Joel, and basically, what is Model UN, right? But Model UN is later, we'll get to the definition, we'll get to its benefits, we'll get to why it's a thing. But the most important phrase I want you to remember, it sharpens your lifelong soft skills. So soft skills meaning communication skills, something that you can't really touch. It's something that you just learned or acquired. And Model UN helps with that. So we have here the icebreaker, the actual definition, the personal testimony, and the assignment, just like a quick bullet points of what we're about to discuss. So if you want to skyrocket, like immensely increase your chances of success to not just success but global success, it's best that you watch this presentation. So let's move on to the next slide, please. All right. So I think the main question that people should ask themselves is, what is your dream job? So you don't have to answer those. You don't have to answer it now, meaning, but what you could do is you write it on the piece of paper or think about it right now. So what is your dream job? I assume most of the students here are university students. I mean college students. I mean, and I'm not sure if you like the college or subject that you're studying, or maybe you love it or you don't. But right now, I want to ask you, what is your dream job? Because if you ask me before, like the first job that I wanted to have was becoming a carpenter. Yeah, that was just elementary. And slowly it changed. I wanted to be a museum curator. But what if I told you that Model UN is beneficial for any course? Either if you do want to become a carpenter or if you want to become a museum curator or anything in between. And I'll tell you more about that in the next slide. So next slide, please. So, what are the in demand soft skills post COVID? So, it's very important for us to understand that after COVID, things have changed. And before Model UN wasn't really that popular. But what I've noticed is after post COVID, I think Model UN just, tried to increase its reach. But based on what you're able to find, you can check the link that I've cited. So based on European Employment Services, so again, if we're gonna base it on the EU, like in a foreign or global scale, so communication skills, problem solving, leadership, teamwork, work ethic, and of course the positive attitude. So yes, there's a lot of ways for you to learn those skills, right? But in Model UN, which we will define later, helps with all of these. So if you've noticed, I've asked you, what's your dream job? We've talked about soft skills. Like maybe you're asking, okay, Joel or Jose, like, so what? Maybe you have that answer right now, or you have that question right now. So the main reason why we're trying to set the tone is Model UN is important and Model UN is significant for your career, especially as a university student. We're trying to lay down the foundation that the reason why we're talking right now is the benefit that you'd get. So what are the benefits? It sharpens your lifelong soft skills. What do you get? You get experience. You get that character development that you're looking for. And what we've discussed so far really hits the mark. And let's next slide, please. Yes, next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, awesome, awesome. So yeah, so what is Model UN? So Model UN, like here's the gist of it. It's a mock General Assembly. So think of it like there's a lot of UN bodies in between, like you have WHO, UNICEF, all of those things. And think of it like you are assigned as one of the delegates of a said country. So let's say you're Indonesia, but maybe you are representing. So you are going to be assigned a country and a specific topic under a specific council. So the main point of that is for you to learn about what the council is about. How does a delegate think or approach? At the same time, how do they write? So if you remember the last slide, we talked about important life soft skills. So if you're able to, role play in a way and try to understand why it's important to, be diplomatic, to learn how to become a formal and culturally appropriate. I think that's the most important thing that you could do with your skills, because I'm pretty sure that you entered Model UN webinar for the expectation that okay, this is about diplomacy, and mainly it is. And if you're able to Google search all of the available, UN councils, you'd figure out that okay, there's a UN council for that talks about food as well. There's a UN council that also handles health, a UN council that handles agriculture, that handles architecture, that handles all of these other things. So the UN itself is a very diverse field. And being in a model UN, like a mock General Assembly or a mock or practice UN Assembly, what you're exposing yourself is more topics, and you're able to position yourself in a country's shoes. Like you're able to understand, okay, for this country, this is their problem. So how do we approach other countries to solve each other's problems? So it's a collaborative effort. It's not just a debate. You're not just trying to convince someone that, hey, I'm the best speaker, therefore I win. In the model UN, diplomacy is a very complex. It's very difficult. You have to really know how you don't have to know how to position yourself to achieve the benefit of not just your country but everyone else. So with that in mind, the goal is for you to, of course, develop your personal skills or your soft skills, but the expected outcome is you'll become a holistic person. On the academic perspective, it's great that you're already in college. That's already perfect. But again, um, you might learn when I say that, but once or experience, you won't be as holistically developed as you would expect. So with that in mind, it's just very important for you to actually attend and experience a Model UN conference, not because it's fancy, not because, just because it's international, but it will give you a better idea on how to write policies. How does a government work? How does law systems work and all of that stuff? Because I've known a lot of people who wants to help write memorandums. I know a lot of people, even Indonesian friends myself, that really want to do, institutional change to their government. But when we try to write stuff, like write resolutions, they're having a difficult time to do that because they don't know how to do it. They thought that it's just only for what you call that, law students, and that's a myth. If you ask me, that's just a myth. Anyone can learn how to write. You just have to be exposed to it. So if you want to learn more, if you want to help more people in an institutional level, this is a great experience for you to understand how complex and difficult it actually is to work at that juncture, to work at that level. And that's a good thing. So that once you become a politician, once you become one of the leaders, once you do become like an actual ambassador, and I'm pretty sure like some people here in this room will become ambassadors, it's going to be beneficial and for your resume as well. I think the last point for this slide is why you should join Model UN or Model United Nations. It helps with your CV or curriculum vitae or resume. Yeah. So for example, if you've heard earlier, so I've got certificates for awards, and you can actually apply use that for application of scholarships, for certifications, and I've known people who've been fully sponsored to go to Harvard, and fully sponsored to go to Stanford, and all of these big schools because they've showed their commitment that they attend events constantly. So that adds up to their global competitiveness. Because let's be real here for a second. Even in the Philippines, a lot of Gen Zs are graduating, Generation Zs, and the global market is becoming more competitive. So the more soft skills that you have, again, earlier communication, leadership, and work experience or experience in general, that will give you an edge over other people. In terms of employment, of course, and in terms of scholarships. So you're getting a lot of benefits with Model UN. And again, the reason why people don't talk about it that much is because it wasn't as popular. But right now, we're trying to make it popular, right? So next slide, please. So yeah, so I think this part I'll just share a bit about myself. Like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Like, there's just big red fire ants here. So yeah, personal testimony. So yeah, I'll just share a bit more about myself. So after Model UN, like my first Model UN, that was in last year May. So yeah, I'm very new to the Moon circuit. So last year May, I was in Thailand, and it was my first time going abroad. It was my first time, traveling alone, and just it was a crazy experience. And I went to this international conference, the MUN, and then when I got back from my country, I realized that hey, the world is bigger than I thought. Like that was literally my that was literally my what you call that the my feeling. Like I didn't know that I could do all of these things, and Model UN was able to open my eyes regarding that. And when I got the chance to reflect, I started to do social work because I wanted to, learn about changing stuff in the institutional level, but I also wanted to work with the grassroots level. That's why I wanted to do social work. Like I want to understand the people first before I enter into air conditioned rooms to write policies. So that was like my motive or my motivation. And what's great about it is I was able to apply to different NGOs, and eventually I landed to the Rotaract Club of Manila. So the Rotaract system, there's also a lot in Indonesia. So it's basically a professional network of volunteers, and that's where I landed. That's where I invested my time, and thankfully, through my connections with Rotaract, I was able to meet people from the ASEAN Youth Organization. So the reason why I'm in Jakarta is because it's a ASEAN Youth Organization type of event. But yeah, I was able to expand my network to ASEAN and eventually the UN. And it's so amazing because through MUN, so I didn't stop doing a Model UN. I still, attend as a delegate and sometimes as a co-chair, and I'm able to expand more networks. And the beauty about Model UN is again, other than the other than the scholarships and the work experience, you also meet amazing people that can really help you out, either in your personal projects or in your professional development. I've known ambassadors in ASEAN just a few months after May last year. And right now, like the biggest win I've had recently. Oh, no. Sorry, guys. These are just fire ants. I'm so sorry. So sorry, guys. But anyway, like the biggest win I've had right now is I we went to the UN office in Indonesia, and the ambassador or the head ambassador of that embassy invited us to visit the UN embassy in Manila. So as you can see there, if you've noticed, what am I trying to say? I'm not trying to brag or anything, but what I'm trying to tell you is if you're exposed to a network of a lot of people with the same mindset, you want to change the world, you want to improve policies, you want to help more people, that's amazing. You have to be in the same room as them. It's related to a business advice that has lingered in my mind for a long time, which is if you want to become a businessman, be with businessmen. If you want to be if you want to be a philanthropist, be in a room with philanthropists. You have to surround yourself with the people you want to be. You have to attract the same type of people. That's why I've known business people who spend thousands of dollars just to go to casinos, not to really what you call that, not to gamble, but to be in the same room as the billionaires that they want to network with. So that with that logic, you don't have to literally, follow what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say is, you really have to make an effort to network, make an effort to be known, make an effort to be there. Because once you're there in Model UN conferences, you're gonna meet a lot of amazing people, and you're gonna create great projects. I'm telling you, it's just a matter of time, and it's gonna surprise you as well. Sorry, guys. Like, I'm not sure where we are. I think where are we right now? In Raguna. There are a lot of red fire ants here, guys. So sorry. But yeah, and then last but not least, so once you attend many Model UN conferences, and of course, once you expand your networks to attend other types of conferences, you will get paid to travel abroad. Like, I eventually, when I was super active in this network, a MUN company, IG International Global Network, hired me to be part of their events team. So, which is great, right? And again, you can't really get these opportunities unless you are always in the scene. So what am I trying to if I summarize my personal testimony, what does it mean? So in one sentence, through Model United Nations, I get to help more people by learning about them and also making sure that I take care of relationships. And you get paid eventually. So I think that's the most important part if you invest in Model UN. And next slide, please. Okay, so this is optional. We don't have to do breakout rooms, but usually this is a great question for you to ask yourself. So, other than what is your dream job right now, knowing about Model UN, at least as per what I've said. So, how does this help achieve your dream job? Okay, so earlier I asked you what is your dream job, so you have to ask yourself, okay, with everything Jose mentioned, does it really help me? So I think that's like a good question for you to ask. And it depends on you guys if you want to comment it, but later maybe in the Q&A we can talk more about it. But that's like the question you have to ask yourself. Okay, now how does Model UN help me achieve achieve my dream job? Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so before I conclude this, talk, so this is just a mini assignment, just optional, guys. If you just want to do it. So what have you learned? So I think it's great that you write a reflection. It's very important to write and reflect. The like a motivation letter. If you were going to apply to a Model UN, like why are you interested in applying to Model UN, and what do you hope to gain from the said conference? Because I think University of Rio might hold a Model UN in the future. I'm not sure now, but I'm pretty sure in the future, or maybe you want to attend Jakarta Moon or Bandung Moon. There's a lot of moons out there. But yeah, so that's like a good question for you to ask. Like, what do you expect? And what topic are you interested? Like, what part of the Model UN are you most excited about? So again, in summary, with everything that we talked about, so the Model UN is a mock General Assembly. You're trying to play the part as an ambassador of a said country. Great mainly for international students or political science students, but it's open to any course, be it hard or soft sciences. This is something that you need to know. It's better to be informed. It's best to be informed so that when we see these news and when we try to help build a solution to solve the problem, it's best that we have that mentality, that idea. Okay, so how can I help? How does this system work? Familiarity will help us, with our frustration. So that's one thing. And of course, it helps you with your soft skills, lifelong soft skills. It helps your competitiveness in the global market in terms of employment, and it also helps you with your scholarships or with your, fully funded trips. And the more people you know, the more successful your projects and your professional development will be. So again, my name is Joel. Thank you so much, and that's Model UN 101 ish. Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
All right. Thank you so much, All right, thank you so much, Jose, for presenting such an amazing material. I got a lot of new knowledge and perspective about Model UN. All right, next we're gonna open the Q&A session. So to all the participants, if you have questions regarding the material presented, please share your question in the chat column according to the format provided by the committee. All right, we have one participants that raise hand. Maybe we can start from Raisha Malika. You can ask your question.
Hello, good morning. I have a question about what are we really doing in MUN? I mean, my friends go there last month in Paris, last MUN in Paris, and I've seen her like choosing between UNICEF and WHO and UNHCR. Like, I mean, what are we really doing in there, like, or debating, and also she is preparing like about diplomacy, about negotiation. I mean, I don't really understand what are we doing in there. That's from me. Thank you.
All right. Hi. Thank you for the question. So, to clarify,
Hello, Jose. Are you there? Oh my God, he left, guys. Wait, we will try to contact him.
I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, just had an internet issue. But yeah, sorry. Like what we were saying, about the Paris Model UN, and was it like confusing or?
No, I mean, what are we really doing in there? Like, are we debating about the topic that we chose, UNICEF, WHO, UNHCR, about what?
Ooh, okay, okay. So yes, based on my understanding, like, okay, so you have a specific topic in the council in Paris Model UN, and then you're curious, okay, so are we debating? Like, what's the point? Like, if you write a position paper, like, what's the point of doing that, right? I think that's your main concern. So usually in Paris Model UN, I haven't been there, but based on my understanding there, they're more technical. They're not beginner friendly. At least based on the reviews I've heard. So in the Paris Model UN, it's usually full of experienced delegates. So what they do is they play um just a quick what do you call that, an asterisk mark. So the answer I will give, I'll try to give a beginner answer, I'll try to give an advanced answer. Let's start with the beginner answer. So the beginner answer is the point that you need to do there is just be familiarized with the process. So if you really don't know what's happening, what I recommend is you just stick with a delegate that knows what they're doing and just be friends with them and see the process. So the main goal for Paris Model UN, if you're going to join that, is just make friends, establish networks. It will help you with your soft skills, and if you get a certificate for participating, that will help with your CV. That will help your resume, which is great, right? So the more advanced answer is if you're with more experienced delegates, you get to play around with it because that's the beauty of a simulation. You can play around with it. So what that means is, so yes, you the point there's kind of debating. It's trying to persuade other people, trying to twist their minds. Um, it's like um, it's like political playing. they do that to enhance their communication skills. But like I'm not sure if I'm translating it well in English. No, I think I'm not. But there's like a Filipino terms to it. But I think the baseline here is if you are confused about Model UN in general, not just Paris Model UN, you have to just stick with, or be close with delegates that knows what they're doing. So that whether you are in agriculture or physics, somewhere that usually diplomacy isn't obvious, then you stick with history or political science students, and they can explain, okay, actually, there's actually a UN resolution about physics. There's actually a UN resolution about agriculture, UN resolution about carpentry or buildings. So, did I answer your question? That's like a main question. Oh, I did. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your question. Maybe we can jump into the next question from Aminina Lubis.
Thank you. Let me introduce myself. My name is Aminina Lubis, a student from the University of North Sumatra. Let me ask my first question. What is the role of cyber security policy in global issues, and how are MUN countries dealing with it? My second question, how does a country align its foreign policy with global policy? My third question, how do MUN countries address power imbalance in global human rights policy? Thank you, sis.
Okay, thank you so much. So the first question is about cybersecurity. The second question is countries aligning foreign policy, and the third is how Model UN or the UN helps with women's rights. Did I understand the last question right? Yeah, was that correct? The third question.
Yes.
Okay, great, great. So first is, yeah, cybersecurity is a very hot topic. So for Model UN, if you're gonna, try it, it's going to ask you to research a lot because you need to be informed first before you actually enter a conversation or an informed discussion. You just don't discuss. You have to have informed discussions. So before the actual conference itself, you will be required to write a position paper. And of course, if once you write the position paper, you have to read. So once you read, especially if you're assigned a topic cybersecurity, you'd notice that it's a field where it's still a gray area in the UN. Why? Because it's hard to define what technology is. It's hard to define what AI is as of now. That's why it's kind of scary. It's hard to limit it. It's hard to control it. So in terms of the UN, what they're trying to do is they're trying to limit it the best they can, but to be honest, they're having a hard time, and that's why the more people that come in Model UN or the UN itself, they'll have more chances of brainstorming better ideas. If you're a computer scientist, you could become a diplomat. Imagine that, no? If you are, let's say, what you call that, computer engineering student or computer engineering background, even data science, you can become a diplomat, which is again crazy if you think about it, right? Because the more specialists we have, that would help address cybersecurity issues to prevent war, to prevent all of the data breaches, which are like one of the most dangerous things here. Because data is the new gold. Like that's the new phrase right now. Data is the new gold. So the data that they gather from you and me, that's like the new way to get targeted ads, targeted political media and all of that stuff. So it's crazy. But second is in terms of foreign policy. So I recommend that you read more about this. This is a long discussion. This is your second question about aligning foreign policy. Remember that the UN, and especially once you again become a diplomat, a delegate in a model UN, you have to understand that the United Nations is an intermediary body that doesn't have any that they try to just, let's say, bridge people. Yes, there have been instances where they use, economic sanctions and sometimes military force, which is a long discussion in itself. But mainly the UN is focusing on just building better relations and not really interfering with country's foreign policy. So if your country foreign policy doesn't really align with a specific UN body, what you need to do is you have to discuss it with your fellow delegates and see how you can work around it, because you can't really do anything if the foreign policy of your country doesn't align with the UN body. But usually, here's what you can do, or the let's say the common mistake delegates make on Model UN. They try to force a specific country in a policy that doesn't really work. Maybe because it's their friends, maybe because for a lot of reasons. But you can't really force that. It can again, if you're becoming technical, if you want to win an award, that will give you minus points, because in reality, a foreign policy needs to be aligned first. For example, are you going to put Russia and Ukraine in the same, in the same boat for cybersecurity, like something like that, right? Like that would be like an interesting take. Like, yeah, okay, let's put China, North Korea, Russia and Ukraine in one group, and let's make a law about cybersecurity. It's something like that. It's kind of weird. So yeah, but last but not the least, in terms of the women's rights, there's been a lot of examples. You can actually look it up. But yeah, for women's rights, the UN has been super active in locations like in the Middle East, and that's usually, I think, at least in my perspective. Don't quote me on this, but the last time I checked or read casually through the news, the Middle East is like one of the main success stories of the UN, in terms of preventing violence against women. So I hope I answered your question. Thank you so much. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you so much for the question from Aminina Lubis. Next, we're gonna listen to the question from Frandiva Reyned.
Hi, good morning to our speakers. I'm Frandiva from Jakarta. Actually, it's just my curiosity. Would it be possible for Josh to share your experiences before reaching your current achievements as a new student who will begin my studies at the end of this month? I don't have any prior organizational experience. However, now I have the intention to improve myself. As Ka just mentioned, that we need to have the soft skills professionally explained. I'm lacking confidence because I have no experience joining organizations. What should I do to start developing good soft skills for beginner? Thank you.
All right, that's great. Yeah, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I think the short answer is just always attend events. I think that's like the most important thing. Always attend events, especially if you could with your friends. Make time for it. It's an investment. Like for the youth, especially if you're not working, what you have the most abundant resource we have is time. So if you have time, give time to not just in webinars but actual seminars, and try to make friends. And I know not a lot of people are as extroverted as me. Not a lot of people are as quote unquote confident as me. And before I didn't start like this. So before I was bullied heavily before, believe me or not, I was bullied heavily before during elementary and in high school. That really had an effect on me, a very heavy effect. But what I remembered that really built my confidence slowly was being surrounded with the right people. Being part of a club or an organization in your school that makes you feel welcome, that's the first step to build your confidence. And once you have that, like that core group that you feel that you're taken care of, that you're happy with, then if I were you, then join conferences like Model UN. Like in you don't have to speak English immediately, because I understand not all Indonesian students are very comfortable with English. So if they want to be start confidence with in their local language, that's better. In the Philippines, it's the same as well. Like not all Filipinos have good English, ba? And what they do is, or what I recommend them is just okay, keep speaking in Filipino, keep speaking in your mother tongue, and just be just talk with a small group of people. Eventually, you practice talking in bigger crowds. And I think this is my last suggestion. If you want to be very practical, once you're part of a club, try to become part of externals. Try to become an usher. Like you're forced to talk, and that would slowly build your confidence. That hey, so I'm like at the door. I'm trying to pick up students. Talk to people. That would slowly remove your fear, and then like okay, I could do this. But then again, this is a Model UN webinar, so please do try to join a Model UN. Just give it a shot. So yeah.
Okay, did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, Jess.
All right, thank you for your question. Next, we're gonna listen to the question from Farah Adaya.
Um, okay, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to ask this question. So first of all, I would like to say that everything that you've said earlier, Kak Jose, that was really true. I've experienced it myself because yesterday I've had the chance to join Asian Youth International MUN, and regarding that, I've made a lot of friends, a lot of, yeah, just a lot of friends in general. But the question that I would ask is regarding on how to actually keep the relationship with your friends going after the MUN ends, because I find it troublesome that after the MUN ends, you don't really see them face to face anymore, and soon after, you don't really have much topic to say because they've gone on
Yeah.
with their lives and you've gone on with yours. So how do you do it?
Great question. I'll give you two examples, a good and a bad example. I'll start with the bad, so we can end with the good. So the bad example is my friends and I made an NGO. So what we did is because we love serving, we love these are all Filipinos. So because we met last year in August, what we did is we tried to make an NGO back. And the bad news for that part is if all of you aren't aligned with what you want to do, it can hurt your friendship. So my suggestion is if you want to keep in touch with your friends, it's better to make sure that you are aligned, because what we did is we wanted to make Model UN accessible. So we tried to like do a lot of online events, a lot of projects, physical and online. But to my surprise, maybe it's the cultural thing of afraid of saying no. There was this miscommunication gap that they started to hate me for doing a lot of things, and no one was telling me. So what happened was in the middle of a lot of projects, we had affiliations with top universities in the Philippines. In the middle of it, the organization exploded. Like they wanted to kick me out, and I was kind of sad, and they left the organization, and I left the organization, and the organization's dead, and there was no friendship now. So you have to make sure that if you want to keep tabs,
I'm sorry, you're cutting off.
good. I guess I'm so sorry. Like there's another dead tissue. Where did I start? Where did I stop? I'll continue na lang. So what I was trying to say is especially you should know their limits and know your limit. So if you want to collaborate with them or keep in tabs, make sure that it's not too burdening on their end or not too burdening on your end. It's best to not burn bridges, because that's the point of diplomacy. Even if you don't like each other, or you're not really best of friends, you don't burn bridges. But what happened is we definitely burned bridges for that org. But anyway, that's a learning lesson. But the good news is, if you want to keep in tabs with your friends, make it very casual. Like what I mean is, for example, you have a webinar like this one. Guys, invite I invite you guys to attend this webinar. Since from your school, for example, University of Riau, you can invite them. And especially you can mention that, hey, if you have any events abroad or in your country, please invite me as well. So for my current friends that I'm very good friends with, we just talk maybe once or twice a month. Just about, webinars or seminars, and I ask them want to go abroad in this country or that country, especially if it's fully funded, right? It's very student friendly. So that's what I try to do. I try to just communicate with them when there's opportunities abroad. So that's like the best way for you to make friends. It's not really like the best friends that you talk every day, but like a professional relationship that whenever you meet, like, hey, it's like just yesterday, ba. And again, just make sure that when there's opportunities, always invite them, always send them links, always ask them to visit ba. And you'd be surprised that I have Indian friends and even Indonesian friends that go to the Philippines when we have events. You just have to keep sending and inviting them, and they won't forget you. So yeah, that's my answer.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That's such a clear explanation.
Okay, thank you so much, Farah, for your question. Maybe we will have a last question from Aisha Putriza. For all of you guys that still want to ask questions, you can ask your question in our next session. So for Aisha, you can ask your question.
Okay, good morning for all the participants and Jose especially. My name is Aisha Fadriza from SMN 39 in Indonesia, Jakarta, Indonesia. So, sorry, first I wanted to ask if my voice is clear or not.
It's a little bit loud.
Okay, so my question is, in the middle of a MUN conference, how can we as the delegates effectively balance our interests of our assigned country with the pursuit of global cooperation topic in an MUN conference? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for that. But to clarify, so your question is about aligning your interests
Yeah,
in a specific
thank
topic that's
you.
assigned to you. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Thank you. Yes, correct.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Good, good, good. Thanks for the question. In a Model UN conference, what they're trying to teach us is to empathize. So empathize means that you have to, put yourselves in the country's shoes. So if you believe in, let's say you believe in GMOs, like you believe that genetically modified organisms are good personally, but but your country that's assigned to you is against GMOs. So what do? So again, as a delegate, as a Model UN ambassador, you have to play the part. So even though your personal views or interests doesn't align to the country you're assigned, you have to put that aside for now and embody that. So whenever you make speeches in the actual conference, you have to make sure that you're not speaking as you, but you're speaking as the representative of a country. So I hope that partially answers your question. But in terms of your personal interests, sometimes, to be honest, you won't get the country or topic that will personally interest you, and that's okay, because the purpose of the event is to make sure that you learn how to write, learn how to negotiate, and at the same time you know how to position yourself. Because in reality, like like in the world ba, like sometimes we don't get what we want, and I think that's a good way for us to see, okay, I have this with me. Let's say maybe you're assigned maybe as a Cambodia, maybe your country is Cambodia, and maybe your topic is about outer space, but you like talking about maybe about agriculture. So why am I given a topic about space? But always view it as an opportunity to learn. Like, okay, I know I don't understand space, I don't like space, but I'm gonna give this a shot. I want to read more about it so I can learn more about that thing. And you'd be surprised if you keep an open mind and just give it a shot, learn about it, and you'd see, no, wow, I didn't know that space could be this cool. At the same time, you'd be shocked on how these organizations, like these topics, actually interrelate or correlate with each other. Because for example, like one thing that, again, just random sharing. Like sometimes in the UN, I forgot the actual name of the council for the space stuff. So before there was an issue that, okay, so what's the policy if a Chinese satellite crashes in, let's say, the US? So who gets to retrieve it? So like for example, like that. So what if it falls into a farmhouse and it's in the middle of, a cornfield? So what's the process for that? Like what's the legal process for that? But what if it's an enemy satellite that crashed in a farmhouse? So what's the process? And it's actually a great simulation. Like you'd be surprised. Okay, so this is how it works. This is the protocol. Something like that. Just wanna share that part. Did I answer the question? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Thank you.
actually
Thank
answering
you.
the question. Thank you so much for your answers, Jose.
No problem. No
Thank
problem.
you so much for the answer once again.
All right, thank you so much, Aisha, for your question. With the end of the question from Aisha, it will be the end of our Q&A session for this session. For all of you guys that still want to ask, we still have another session. We still have another speaker, so you can ask the question for another speaker. Okay, I would like to say thank you so much to Jose for presenting such a good material, and it's so nice to have you here. And we will move on to the next agenda. It will be the material exposure by the second speaker. But before that, I want to introduce you our second speaker. All right, so this is our second speaker. It is Isadora Monteiro from Brazil. So in 2022, she was the Brazilian champion of simulations and was awarded in 2023 at the Harvard Model United Nations, where she stood out and served for a year as a trainer and faculty advisor of the largest Brazilian delegation at Youth Model United Nations and Harvard MUN, training dozens of young people throughout the year who were later awarded in these simulations. Without further ado, let's welcome our second speaker, Sis Isadora Monteiro.
Hello, can everyone hear me and see me well? It's okay?
Yes, it's okay. Hi, how are
Yes.
you today?
Hi, how are you? I'm good, thank you. So it's
How's,
okay, right? Like the sound, you can hear me well. It's okay?
yeah, yes, I can hear you well. So how's you feeling
Okay,
today as the
perfect.
speaker for our webinar this morning?
What? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
How's you feeling today as the speaker for our webinar in this morning?
Ooh, I'm very, very, very excited. I prepared a good material so we can all discuss about. I love this topic, and I'm so, so, so grateful to be here. It's so, so nice. So thank you for inviting me. I'm very, very, very excited.
We're also very, very excited to hear your presentation today. Okay, so I think it's time to hear your presentation. So to you, time is yours.
Perfect. Thank you. So, hello everyone. Good evening. Good evening only for me. I think that for everyone it's good morning. So, good morning everyone. My name is Isadora Monteiro, but you can all call me Isa. I think Isa it's easier. But before introducing myself, I just would like to apologize for my voice. I'm a little bit sick because here in Brazil, we are currently facing some issues with wildfires. And I don't know, the climate's like very, very, very strange. So I'm a little bit sick, but I believe you'll still be able to understand me well. Okay. I would also like to start by expressing my gratitude for the opportunity to be here. As I said, I'm so happy, and I was so excited when I received the invited. And yes, now I'm here, and I was very excited when I received it. So I'm very happy and grateful to be here with you today. I've done everything I can to ensure that today you have a fantastic learning experience about the world of simulations, the world of MUNs, and I prepared this material with great care. And I totally encourage you to take notes, okay, while I guide you through this. So I will be speaking much more than you see in the slides in this material. So today we'll discuss an introduction to the United Nations, to the model UN, right, to the United Nations system, and a bit about rules and procedures. This part it's a little bit more difficult, I think. So please take notes. And as well as topics such as the importance of consensus and diplomacy and the roles within the world of UN simulations, UN, by the United Nations. So shall we begin? Okay, next slide, please. Thank you. I will ask you to write your questions in the chat so I can read them along the presentation. And I believe we will also have some time, right, at the end to address these questions. But however, I ask you to write them down so I can organize myself and answer them throughout the presentation. So, as I said, my name is Isadora Monteiro, or Isa. And nowadays, I study political science at the University of Brasilia. I live in Brasilia. Brasilia is the capital of Brazil. So I live here and I study political science here since 2023. So very excited to be here with you today to discuss topics about political science too, right? Because this is the area that I choose to study about. So next slide, please. Okay, everyone. I prepared some special topics to talk about introduction to MUN. So first of all, I don't know if we can have this interaction with the public, but I would like to ask you, what is MUN for you? You can give me like a more philosophical answer, but I would like to you, and I would have one answer about what is MUN to you. What do you think when the word MUN when I say this word MUN, what Model United Nations mean to you? Can someone answer this one for me? Can I have like one answer? I don't know if we can have this interaction. It's okay. Okay. So I have a volunteer. Maybe. Oh, yes. Thank you. Someone would like to say what MUN means for you? Oh, you can come back for the other slide, please. Thank you. Yes. Okay. No, no one. No, we don't have volunteers. Okay. So oh, thank you. I don't know if I will pronounce your name correctly. I'm sorry, but the first person that has the raised hand is Farah. Farah Ataya. Yes, Farah.
You actually pronounced it correctly. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Personally, for me, I think MUN is an opportunity or a chance to talk and discuss about things, political things, or anything with people who share the same interest as you.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Aisha, would you like to share with us your perspective? Okay.
You can hear my voice clearly, aren't you?
Yes, I can hear you well.
For me, Milan is actually a fresh start for us, especially for us who wants to get into the United Nations in the future. it's a fresh start for us to actually know how the United Nations conference actually is, and it's a chance. Actually, mine is same as Farah said that it's a chance for us to discuss, especially global issues that has been hot topic in this world. That's it for me. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, girls. So I would like say what MUN means for me. So it's very nice to share these opinions and these different perspectives about that meeting. But for me, MUNs are like one of the safest places in the world to share ideas with different people from different countries, and it's so special to have this time to discuss about politics, to discuss about the international questions that everyone in the world makes, to discuss about problems and to search for resolutions. And MUN's, the model United Nations is a simulation of the United Nations, where we have some students acting like delegates from various countries and debating on global issues. And for me, that's the beauty in the MUN. The way that you can meet new person from other countries, and this is very special because I don't know, but this changed my life. The possibility to meet people from other countries, and sometimes without leaving my country, like now we are online and in this meeting, and I'm knowing like new perspectives from you, and we are not in the MUN but have this discussion. It's very, very, very important. It's very, very, very special for me. So this is the magic in MUN for me. But the second topic that I would like to discuss with you is the understanding immune procedures. So I know that some of you have some difficulties with rules of procedure. When I was beginning to learn the MUN MUN's procedures, I had so many difficulties to understand these rules because they're very different from the rules that we use here in Brazil, like the international rules of procedure that everyone uses in Harvard or in Yale and in this international MUNs. But I prepared some topics to discuss about so we can understand the MUN procedures. The first one is about the formal debate structure. So I would like to share with you the perspective about roll call. So roll call at the beginning of each session in an MUN, we have the chairs, and the chairs they take attendance by asking countries to declare if they are present or present and voting. This is the first thing that happened in an MUN debate. And second, we have the setting the agenda. So the first task of the committee in every committee is to set the agenda, deciding which topics we should discuss along the committee. Then we have the speakers list, when we have some delegates, and the delegates can add their country to the speakers list to deliver formal speeches on the topics. So this is the place where you can just subscribe your country to talk and to discuss about any topic that we prepare to discuss in the agenda. And we have the moderated caucus, shorter focus speeches with a moderated format where chairs can call on delegates. And we have the unmoderated caucus. The unmoderated caucus is a time for informal discussions, negotiations, and drafting on resolutions. The unmoderated caucus is personally my favorite one because when we have an unmoderated caucus and mod, we can talk with everyone and just walk through the committee, and it's a special experience, to be honest. But these are the main rules of procedure And I mean, these are the main rules of procedure in every committee. But then we have some other topics about rules or procedures. We have, for example, point of personal privilege. We are discussing about MUNs, but I would like to know, you guys have these rules in your minds, like you know these rules of procedures. So if I ask you, what is a point of personal privilege? Someone here can answer. Someone here know the answer? Yes, no, maybe. What are a point of personal privilege? Someone know? Oh, Farah. If I say your name wrong, please just tell me. Okay, it's Farah.
Yeah. Based on what I've learned before, point of personal privilege is used when you think the data that is being brought up is wrong, or if you have like a more valid data regarding that.
Yes, you're right. Point of personal privilege is used by delegates to address personal discomfort, like such as inalienability, to the chair. So you're totally correct. Okay. But I saw that Aisha was with her raising hand. So I would ask you, can you tell me what is a point of order in MUN? Point of order?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay, you can say it. Oh, your micro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So based on my experience from the last time I do the MUN, point of order is actually a procedural motion used in an MUN conference to raise an objection to a violations of the rule of the procedure. Is it correct?
Okay. Yes, your guys are very good with rules or procedure. Very nice. Yes, point of order is raised when a delegate believes that there is a procedural error. So you're totally right. When we have some difficulties with the rules of procedure, we need to ask for a point of order. And then we have point of information. Point of information is used after a speech, so delegates can ask questions for clarification. And about the motions, we have a motion for a moderated caucus, suggested to move into formal topic focused discussion, as I said, and we have motion to suspend the meeting. This motion is calls for a break during the session, like for a cough break or just for a break time, and then we can discuss about topic number three, that is about resolution writing and voting. So I don't know about you, but one of the most difficult things for me when I was a delegate, it was to understand the rules of the drafted resolution. I had so many difficulties to understand what I had to do with draft resolution, just to include everyone in the committee and to call everyone to write the resolution with me. I don't know if you guys had the same experience, but drafting resolutions was one of the most difficult things that I needed to learn to participate in international MUNs. I mean, it's very difficult when you are in a international MUN and you need to discuss in another language, in English, mainly in English, and you need to try to introduce everyone to your draft resolution. And this is like the difficult that we have with our leadership inside the committee. So we are talking about this introduction to MUN. So we discuss what is an MUN, and now we are understanding some MUN procedures. But one of the most difficult things to do inside the committee is to try to show your leadership for others. It's very difficult to do this because you need that everyone trust you. Everyone needs to trust you. And a good way to make people trust you inside the committee is to know the rules of procedure, because if you know the rules, you can play the game in the right way. So just to talk about the drafting resolutions, when we talk about this, we're talking about the main goal of MUN. The main goal in any model United Nations that you will participate in your life is to pass resolutions that address the issues under discussion. And this is very important, very, very, very important, because resolutions consist of preambul- preambulatory clauses. This is a very difficult word for me. Preambulatory clauses, which set the context, and operative clauses, which proposes action. And then I have another question for you. What is the most difficult thing when we are talking about proposed actions? Do you guys have this difficult to imagine many ways, like, oh my god, how can I propose an action? This is difficult for you, or you don't have this difficult inside the committee? Because I had when I was a delegate. For me, it was very, very, very difficult to look for many different proposal actions, because we need to hear many speeches along the committee, and every speech have a different proposal, you know, and these proposals need to be inside the draft resolution. Then we have some amendments. We are talking about this draft resolution, and inside the draft resolution, we can sometimes have amendments. So delegates may propose changes to resolutions, which can be friendly, like accepted by the sponsor, or unfriendly when they required a vote. So, okay, now I have another question. How do you guys like see this unfriendly way to see the amendments or the different perspectives about the drafting resolutions? You guys have difficult with this different perspectives inside the committee? It's something that it's difficult to you to see inside the MUN in general? Can someone talk about it? Aisha, please.
Maybe we find this when we do the draft resolution and then MUN, we find this difficult because there are a lot of point of view from a different country, especially, so that it's hard for us to actually combine our minds and our ideas, because sometimes there are countries and delegates who aren't agree with our ideas also. Maybe that's the difficulties when we're talking about draft resolutions.
Okay, perfect. But then I mean that I have another question about it, because what are the main challenge you have ever encountered in a MUN? Like the main challenge, something that you saw and you was like, oh my god, I can't do this. This is so hard to me. Like the main challenge. Do you know?
Yes, for me, the main challenge is actually that's what I said before, because there are a lot of delegates from the different country and also have the different mind with us, and also different ideas. So sometimes there are kind of one of their ideas to be heard, so they force their ideas to be heard, and they won't hear our ideas. So they act like only their ideas could be heard by us, and they not gonna hurt our ideas. That's the main challenge actually, to confront peoples like that for me.
Okay, this is very interesting to hear, because I really think that um many people share like the same difficult as you. So including me, I understand totally your feeling, and this is something that we need to pass through along the committee, and sometimes can be very hard. That's why I said, I mean, one of the best ways to see this in a better view is to know the rules of procedure. So, okay. Passing through the amendments, we will talk about the voting procedure. So, When we have a draft resolution, we need to vote the draft resolution. And resolutions and amendments are put to a vote by all delegates. Depending on the council, different majorities are required. For example, simple majority or two-thirds majority, you know? And this process along the voting procedure can be very, very hard to see when you are in the committee. So sometimes you can like get very anxious. Oh my God, now you're on the voting session, but it's one of the most one of the nicest experience inside the committee. And okay, so just to give some examples about the types of MUN committee, I want to talk about this. This is the our last topic. Um, Types of MUN committees. The first one is the General Assembly, GAs, and the GAs are the largest body in the UN, dealing with broad international issues like peace, security, and human rights. So they operates under the principle of one country, one vote. And some examples of GAs and MUNs are the DISAC, Disarmament and International Security, Social, Humanitarian, Culture Committee, SOSHUN. And then we have the Security Councils. Security councils are responsible for international peace and security, as the name said, and they have 15 members, including five permanent members, P5, right, with the veto power, and they discuss topics often involve conflicts, interventions, and sanctions. Okay, so the third one is the Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC. Economic and Social Council are focused on global economic, social, and environmental issues. So some examples: World Health Organization, United Nations Development Program, UNDP. UNDP is my favorite type of committee. I totally love UNDP. When I had the experience of being a delegate in Harvard MUN in 2023, I was in a UNDP, so it was one of the nicest experience that I had in a MUN, and I totally love this kind of committee. So number four is specialized agencies. Specialized agencies are smaller issue-specific councils, like such as the International Monetary Fund or the United Nations Environmental Program. Okay, so these committees often have unique rules and formats that I'll not share with you right now because they're very, very, very specific. And the last one, number five, crisis committee. Crisis committee, simulate rapid, real-time situations where you find delegates responding to in voting crisis, and some examples: historical security council and fictional scenarios. I doesn't like the crisis committee. I have some difficulties with this kind of committee. For me, it's very crazy. Oh my God, crisis right now. Not for me. And just to finish, roles in MUN councils. Okay, so we have the delegates, we have the chairs, and sometimes in some MUNs we have the observers. So delegates, like you, represent their assignment country, make speeches, participate in debate, and draft resolution. The chairs are the authority in the council, so they need to maintain order and enforcing the rules of procedure. And last but not least, observers, nations or organizations that don't have voting rights but can participate in discussion, like European Union and in certain UN committees, for example. And sometimes we have some crisis staff in crisis committee. Oh my God, again, crisis committee. And the crisis staff introduces unexpected developments and it manages to the flow of the crisis. Okay, and I just want to talk like very, very, very fast about the importance of consensus and diplomacy. Next slide, please. Oh, okay. So this is my favorite phrase when we talk about MUN, and every time that I see one of my delegates, because nowadays I work with this. So I sometimes need to make some trips around Brazil just to introduce other young students to the Model United Nations MUNs. And I always said this to them. So it's this phrase is very important, and it says like the best delegates are not always those who win a gavel or a certificate, but the best ones leave a mark, and marks are only powerful if others know and care about you. So this is the most important thing that I can maybe teach you, that we need to work to have our mark in the in this MUN world, you know, and just to leave this mark, we need that everyone cares about us, and we need to be listened. You know, this is very important, and this is totally about the importance of consensus and diplomacy inside the MUN. So we are talking about diplomatic negotiation, coalition building, and mainly leadership and public speaking. These are very important topics when we're discussing about MUNs. So, yeah, just to finish, I would like to hear of some of you the impact of MUN in your lives, because I told you about the impact inside my life and the way that I like to live with MUNs like almost every day with my students in Brazil. But I would like to hear the impact of MUNs in your lives. So someone would like to share with us some experience? Aisha, please. Thank you for your participation, Aisha. That means a lot.
Okay, so for me, thank you so much for the opportunity to give my opinion first. So actually, the impact of MUN in my life is uh, it brings a lot of positive impact to my life, especially because I have a really low social skills. And with when I joined MUN, it raised my social skills like a lot, so that I could raise my social skills, especially um to express my ideas and express my opinions about and everything in my mind, that I could be discussed with the other delegates from the other countries, and also with everyone in the conference. I could speak my mind like freely, and that means a lot to me, of course, especially for raising my social skills and for me to improve my discussion skills. That's it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. Farah, please.
Hi, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak again. Honestly, personally, I think the MUN has really opened up my mind to a lot of new things, because when I was a child, I really wanted to become a doctor because I came from a line of doctors, and I believe that doctors are the type of people who can actually help other people straight away. But as I grow and as I see more things in my neighborhood, in my country, I feel like those type of problems needs actual big solves, because most of the problems in these countries are like problems that comes from the root. So I feel like being a doctor, even though you can help the people straight away, it won't be enough. And I started getting inspired to become a diplomat, because I want to help the people by actually fixing the amendments and the rules implemented in the country. And that's why I feel like the MUN has really opened up my mind to a lot of new things. And it also helped me meet a lot of new friends, make a lot of new relations with amazing people. I've had friends from Philippines, I've had friends from the Maldives, I had friends from Papua. It's just filled with a lot of new amazing people.
This is a nice stream, like to become a diplomat, and congratulations, like really. But just to share with you, I think that what I like most in this MUN world is to feel heard, and this is very nice. So when I had the experience like to be a delegate in Harvard Model United Nations, I won an award, and it was one of the best days in my life because I felt heard, you know, like, oh, people care about me, people care about why I'm say what I'm saying inside this committee. And then I won the award, and I was so happy with this because I was not only happy because I won the award. I was happy because I made friends like all over the world, you know? So, and nowadays, we keep contact. So from Croatia, from Portugal, from Philippines, from Indonesia now, you know, and MUNs, the Modern United Nation prepares students to think critically, you know, critically about global issues. And the Modern United Nations, they teaches them how to work towards peaceful solutions through diplomacy, and this is very important to young people. It encourages the next generation to become engaged, informed, and empathic global citizens, and this is very important. This is the thing that I most like in this MUN work. So thank you very much for your participation. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I hope you all like it, the experience. Okay. Thank you very much again, guys.
All right, thank you so much for Isadora Monteiro for giving us such amazing perspectives to us. All right, the next agenda is we're gonna open the Q&A session. So to all the participants, if you have questions regarding the material presented, you can raise your hand, you can open your camera, and we will only open for 3 questions. For the participants that want to ask, please open your camera, guys. All right, maybe we can start from Sofia Rizky Maulida.
All right. Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sofia Rizky Maulida from University of Lambung Mangkurat Banjarmasin. I have 2 questions for Isadora. One question: how can delegates from member states use the roles of procedure at the Model United Nations General Assembly wisely to ensure their country representation is heard and respected? And second question, what are the basic principles that guide the drafting of rules of procedure at the Model United Nations General Assembly, and how are these principles adhered to by each member state? Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Hi, Sophia. How are you? Thank you so much for your question. But I would like to ask you if you can write your question, please, because my internet is very bad and the sound is like totally weird for me. So I don't know if I understood your question very well. Would you mind to write for me the question? It's okay for you? Oh, I can't hear you. I think she's writing, right?
Sophia, your mic is still off.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I have 2 questions. First question: how can delegates from member states use the rules of procedure at the Model United Nations General Assembly wisely to ensure their country's representation is
Mm.
heard and respected? And 2 question, what are what are the basic principles at that guide the drafting of rules of procedure at the Model United Nations General Assembly, and how are these principles adhered to by each member state?
Oh, perfect. Okay, now I can see the question. Perfect. Thank you for your 2 questions. They are actually very good, appreciated. So the first one about how can delegates from member states use the rules of procedures. I mean that's depends. That's why I think that you need to study first of all your nation specific things, because every nation and every representation inside MUN have some specific things that you need to know when we are talking about how to use rules of procedures in your favor. So, for example, in a UNSC, if you are representing US, is different when you are representing Brazil, for example. So you need to study this specific things on your, not only about your committee but about your representation. This is very, very, very important. So if you know the main goals of your representation, you will know how to use the rules of procedure in your favor. So sometimes you are a P5 in the UNSC, and then you need to know how to use your powerful of veto. So before you study the rules of procedure, you need to study about your country. That's how you will learn to use the rules of procedure in your favor. Okay, I can't access the chat. I'm really sorry, guys, about my internet. But I don't know if this answer your question. I can't see the second question, but I will try to see again. Okay, just give me a minute. Yes, I can see now. Oh my God, my internet is so bad. We can pass through the next question, so maybe I can return to Sophia's question when I can see the chat. It's okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Oh, thank you.
All right, maybe we will try to listen to the next question first from Aminina Lubis.
Thank you, sis. Let me introduce myself. My name is Aminina Lubis, a student from the University of North Sumatra. Permission to ask my first question. What is the procedure for submitting a political resolution in the MUN, and what commit usually exist in MUN, and what are the duties of each commit? Thank you, sis.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you please just send your question again in the chat? Now I can see the chat because I'm using my phone. My internet is really bad, but yeah, I mean, that depends too, because you need to search different ways to use the rules of procedure when we are talking about specific countries. So I don't know if you can send to me again the question in the chat. It's okay for you, please. I'm sorry again for the problem with my internet, okay? Now I'm using the chat here, so I think that I can read.
Okay, for Aminina, is your questions already answered? Is it already enough for to answer?
Yes, it's because I can't see and I can't hear her very well. I'm really sorry. It's being
Aminina,
difficult to do this Q&A now. Oh, I think. Oh, now I can see it. No, I cannot. I'm sorry.
okay, maybe for Aminina, you can send again your question in the chat column. And for you all that want to ask, you can also type your question in the chat column so that we can see your questions.
Oh, okay. Now I am having access to the chat in my cell phone. So, if you guys can send again oh, here. Now I can read it. Let me introduce myself. Okay. What is the procedure for submitting a political resolution in MUN? With political resolution, do you mean like a draft resolution or it's another specific type of resolution? Let me see. If you are talking about draft resolution, it's not that difficult. You just need to write the draft resolution, and then you have to discuss with the other delegates inside the committee, just to follow the procedure rules about the voting session. So once that you have your resolution like wrote it, you need to search for delegates who wanted to approve your resolution. And this is for draft resolutions or even to submit a political resolution. Okay. Anyway, you need to do this. This I forgot the word. Uh, let me remember. You need to do this network. Yes, that's the word. You need to do this network inside the committee just to look for people who wants to approve your resolution. Okay. And your second question was, and what committees usually exist in MUN, and what are the duties of each committee? Okay. So I told you about some of these committees. So we have the general assemblies, and I gave you some examples about disarmament and international security, DISAC for general assemblies, security councils. These security councils are like UNSC, you know. When I talked about the P5, about the veto, I was talking about the Security Council, the UNSC. We have economic and social councils like ECOSOCs, so World Health Organization, United Nations Development Program. These are other kinds of committees that we have in MUNs, specialized agencies and crisis committees. So yes, I think these are the five types of committees that we have in MUNs. Okay, hope that I answered your question. I'm sorry again for the internet.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer, and thank you so much for Aminina for your questions. Maybe we will open for one more question. For all of you guys that want to ask, you can type your question in the chat column.
Yeah, I think that we have another question in the chat. No? No.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Is there any more questions, guys?
No more questions? That's all because I'm having problems with my internet. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm really sorry about it.
It's okay. All right, but if you guys have no questions, maybe we can just. Oh, we have one. This will be the last questions. It's from Raisha Malika. Okay.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. My question is really simple. I mean, what is the difference between MUN offline and also MUN online? Because there's a lot of MUN online. I mean, like the procedure and the rules. Are there any specific difference? Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Do you mean like online or in person? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Very good question. I'm sorry. I am really sick. But okay, here we go. Honestly, I prefer like MUNs in person, offline. I don't know, because we have. I mean, like the main difference is the contact that you have with the other delegates in person. You know, so it's different. Like having negotiations and networking with delegates in person than in online, because in online you can have this interaction, of course, like in breakout rooms. It's a great experience. But when you are like face to face, you can use other ways to do this networking. For example, I don't know if I have here, but one of the best gifts that you can have in a in-person MUN is like this. I don't know if you guys can see it. Probably not, but this is my gift from Harvard MUN when everyone can sign it. Oh, you guys can see it, I think. Oh, now you can. So I mean, the main difference is the experience that you have with the other delegates because the rules are the same and the committee is still the same, but it's totally different when you can have like your little card, Isadora Monteiro delegation of Japan, and you can just give this for other delegates. It's the nicest experience in the world, you know. So if you have the chance, please participate in a MUN like in person, face to face. But we don't have any differences when the topic's about rules or procedure or the way that the committee will end. Okay, it's like all the same. Hope that answer your question. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Raisha Malika, for your question. And I would also like to say thank you to you, our presenter today, for giving us such a amazing material for today. It's really nice talking to you and hear you are talking with a lot of excitement for our webinar today. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting me again. I'm so grateful to be here. And every time that you needed my help, just ask me that I will be there, okay? I'm sorry again for my internet and for my voice. Hope that the next time we don't have this kind of problem, okay? But I love it, the experience, and I just love it to be here today, okay? Thank you very much, guys, for the experience.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye. All right. We'll move on to the next speaker. We will now hear from our third speaker, but first, before we welcome our third speaker, I would like to introduce our third speaker. All right, so this is our last speaker. It is Raflian Shah from Indonesia. So our third speaker is having a lot of experience in Model United Nations. For example, he is the academic director in Papua Model United Nations in 2023. He is also the Secretary General in General Ahmad Yani Model ASEAN meeting in 2022 until 2021. And then he also got a lot of awards in MUN. For example, he got the first winner in Model G2 competition in Bank Indonesia in 2022 and many more. And then for the chairing experience, he is experienced as the head chair of UNESCO in ITB MUN 2024. He is also the co-chair of UNSG Makassar MUN in 2024, head chair of FAO in 10 November Institute of Technology in 2024, and many more. And without further ado, let's welcome our third speaker. Please welcome Kak Raffiansyah.
Hi everyone.
Hi,
Selamat
Kak.
pagi menjelang siang. How are you guys? I can see a lot of sleepy faces, hungry faces. Me too. I can feel it as well. Hi everyone. I can see Agnes here, selfie here, and I hope for everyone, please turn on your camera. This session will be. I will make sure the session will be memorable for all of you, uh, dear audience here. So. Thank you, Tahara, for the warm introductions. May I just share my screen?
Yes, of course.
Thank you so much. And I still really hope everyone can turn on their camera. And this session will be very much fun, engaging, and I'll make sure you get something from here. I'm going to make sure this presentation for I think 25 minutes. So no worries. Please take notes if you find this important to you as well. So let's continue with the material strategy for one-on-one for MUN. So I believe the first speaker and the second speaker have introduced to you what is MUN, what MUN offers to you, and at the end of the day, MUN is about how you have a understanding of some issues and you try to elaborate further to wide audience by representing a country. And during my experience, I think MUN is very much an important, especially for international relations student and generally for everyone. And in my introduction, I just want to let you know I'm currently building a platform. It's called Sipaling HI. Yes, it's the real name. It's a real, and you can check on Instagram, Sipaling HI. I'm currently sharing a lot of about MUNs, about international related areas. And thank you so much for having this session, for having me for presenting this session. So I have a special request for everyone. I will take around 1 minute in here. So everyone, my special request to all of you, and you will get a free international relations ebooks that I have, and it's recommended to read. Basically, what you need to do is you can just record this session to your Instagram stories. I don't know, like 10-second, 15-second, that should be fine. And then don't forget to tag my Instagram, roughly, and also write a bit of your testimony, like session is good, for example. Amen to that. And or use the hashtag Bumikan HI. It's basically a message that IR or HI itself is something we should share to the public. So let's continue to the sessions. So I'm going to give you guys a direct substance in regards to MUN. So what are the chairs or the judge looking for in a delegate? What is the best delegate formula? I'm going to share that a bit to you. And then what is those skills that we train in model United Nations, and how should we improve that? And the third point, I think it's the most important thing. I'll make sure you guys get something from here. Several tips and tricks for doing model United Nation. So yeah, first of all, let me get to this slide. So this is basically how MUN goes, right? I think everyone has already been recognized. We start from the absence, or we call it the roll call, and then we're doing speech and the speakers list, and then we have a two format of discussion: moderated and unmoderated. Basically, you discuss everything, negotiate with other people, convey your ideas. I think this is will be the solution, but the other delegate said, no, we don't think that's the solution. We think this is the solution. Then you argue, and then create a document, and then you get that document to be voted in the voting session. That's MUN. And thank you. But continue. There is I think in Indonesia, to say the least, I'm not sure internationally, but in Indonesia, I have done some research, and I found that how much chairs around Indonesia score their delegate based on several criterias. So the criteria will be, I think this will be important. You can create notes or capture the screen. This is pretty much important. So this is pretty much what chairs are looking for in a delegate. So there is three variables here, and the first variable is consistency, 20%. Basically, your presence towards the discussion. Usually in MUN, we have like 6 sessions of discussion. And then in each session, you have to be very much active, being consistent. You participate in general speakers list, you propose motions, and you speak in that motions. That is basically consistency. You have to do that the whole session. The second thing is diplomacy. 35% is basically how you convey your speech, your message, and then how those message can influence other people, and then you lead the discussion to a certain solution, and you negotiate why your solution is the best. Those things is 35%, meaning it's very important as well. But the most important thing in MUN is actually substance. So in MUN, what you are going to do is to solve problems. Solving problems require solutions, and those solution has to be represented in your content of your speech, your stances, how you position yourself. Are you pros? Are you cons? And then the whole drafting session, the way you write your solution, those things is on substance, 45%. So in short, this is how chairs will score upon you on your performance. So to sum it up, the skills for MUN is at least five in my understanding. First is your research. Before you joining MUN, you do your research. What is your country position? For example, Indonesia on the issue of South China Sea. How does Indonesia position itself? Is it pros? Is it cons? Is it neutral? Try to understand if Indonesia, for example, choose neutral. You have to understand why Indonesia choose neutral. What is the argument behind it? And what do you think the solution towards the South China Sea problem, for example? Those what you have to do in the research. And then in speech, basically, you have to convey your ideas. I will give you the strategy of doing a good speech after this slide, and I'm going to make sure you can do it perfectly and authentically. But we'll continue to negotiation, basically how you build alliance. You have like 50 delegates in the council, for example, and if you want your document to pass, you need to get more votes, right? So numbers of votes in MUN in order for a solution to pass or draft solution to pass is 2 per turn. Basically, for example, if there is 90 delegates in the council, we need at least 60 delegates. So 2 per turn, numbers of delegates. So you need to negotiate. You have to build alliance, build trust. I'll give you the explanation as well. And later on, having the negotiation diplomacy leads you to leadership. You have to lead the whole delegates. How should they do, what should they do to help you create the document, for example, and manage the teamwork. Who should do this, who should do that? So that is what's going to happen when doing the draft resolution document. And then at the end of the day, MUN train your critical thinking. Basically, critical thinking means how you get your understanding straight. For example, when there's an issue, you will ask like 6 questions on W, Y, and 1H. What, who, where, when, how, and why, for example. So basically, you try to analyze what makes this issue a problem, and then you try to convey your solutions, problem solving. You try solution A and solution B, and you analyze, does the solution works or not? For example, solution A does not work, you go to the solution B, and so on and so forth. So those is basically what you do in MUN, and this is the skill that will help you in the real life itself. So I'll continue with the I think to speech. But I think in this previous speaker, there is we can have an interactions, right? So I prefer to have an interaction with delegates. So anyone here, I would like to ask, what do you think the hardest part about doing speech? And anyone can give their opinion. That will be very much helpful. What do you think the hardest part of doing speech? Anyone? You can raise your hand. I know everyone looks tired. I know it's like the third session. Like I'm here in the third session. Everyone is hungry and just can you just skip this out something? Oh, there is someone. Thank you. Rasha? Yes, please.
I think the best challenge in speech is like our hands are shaking and really nervous. And yeah, really nervous. That's
Aside from nervous,
yeah.
Rasha, and thank you, Rasha, for saying that. I would like to ask any other participant, and I prefer if there is the participant not from Indonesia. I believe there is a lot of delegates from outside of Indonesia. Anyone here What do you think the biggest challenges in doing speeches? Anyone outside of Indonesia, please? I know you were there. And John, please. Yeah, I can see you, but I can't hear you. Can you unmute? Okay, please.
Okay, my name is John. I'm from South Sudan, student in Polytechnic, Negeri Malang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there is a lot of maybe there's some challenges when you are giving a speech. The first thing is like when you don't when like if you give a speech and you don't have you don't have the different evidence for giving the speech. I think that one is challenges, and you see your audience are not active like to to give your attention to like when you're doing something, so your audience are not active to like in your presentation. So that one is challenges, and that is the most thing. And I would like also to know what what are the solution when you are facing such challenges. Yeah.
Thank you, John. Where are you from exactly?
I'm from South Sudan.
South Sudan. Well,
Yeah.
wow, we are around the world. Thank you, John. And thank you for joining the sessions. I'll give you the straight answer after that. And thank you so much, John. And we'll continue with the answer that John is looking for. We're currently how to get people attentions and how to make sure people will focus upon our topics and our discussions, right? So there is the recipe that I found out during my 5 years doing speeches is basically this thing called 3V of speech, John and everyone. 3V of speech. It consists of, let's see each one, visual, voice, and verbal. I'm going to explain each one of this variables, John, and I'll make sure you get to understand this as well. So the percentage below it's basically people's attention. So how much people cares about your presentation. Actually, the fact is people care more about your visual rather than the things that you were saying, the verbal. That's basically more than enough to said that there is something about speech that we have to get in deeper. So visual, the most important part, 55%. Or what does it take? Basically, the first thing, John and everyone, is eye contact. For example, John, I'm giving you a speech here in front of like 500 audience, but what I'm doing is I'm reading like this. There's notes that I have. Hi, everyone. I believe that in order to succeed in life, we have to do three things. The first things is we have to do, for example, and then, compare this to this one, John. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for attending the sessions. I believe if you want to succeed in life, there is at least three things that you can do in order to succeed. So you can see the difference there, the eye contact. Eye contact basically mean you try to signal to your audience, I am here, I'm talking to you, and I believe you were talking to me as well, or you have an interaction with me. It's like a signal. Look at me, and I'm currently presenting this information to you. So that's called eye contact. That's the visual. Everyone, when they look at the speakers and the speaker read notes, basically what you have to do is you're going to read your phone as well, because you like think like the speaker doesn't care about you. They only care about the notes. But when you do look at your audience, that will make a signal that you are getting their attention. The second thing, John and everyone, is expression. Basically, that's what I'm doing now. I'm smiling, basically you do your expression based on the context. For example, if I tell a happy stories, I smile all the time. But then when I tell a serious stories, my expression be like, yes. And the most important thing that we have to carry now is love. Expression is the way you present your message. So, people are visual oriented, human itself is a visual oriented being. So you try to make sure their visual always get to your message. And then the gesture is, for example, when people speak, they move their hands. The first thing, the second thing, the third thing, this gesture is basically a visualization of your ideas in your head. Like when you say it's far, you say it's very far. Your hand move like you visualize this. So this is gesture. This is what makes people can understand what you actually saying. And then there is posture. Posture is basically, your body is it aligned. For example, imagine if I speak like this. John, everyone, I believe, blah, blah, blah. Do you find it comfortable? You find like, what is this guy doing? Like, what's the problem? So you have to make sure your body is very much great to look to, make straight and make sure that everyone can see it and not getting other attention out of it. So this is visual and this is very important. And I found that when doing speeches, if you succeed to do this, it's the first step you can create a more engaging speech. Let's go to the second point, is voice. Basically, if you want to use your voice, use intonations, tonality. Basically, when you want to address something very important, your intonation will change. For example, everyone, I'm going to tell you, sorry, let's create the one that should the don'ts one, the don't, if there's no intonation. Everyone, I'm going to tell you how to succeed in life. There is at least 3 tips. The first tips is you have to make sure you are preparing yourself by doing a lot of competitions, blah, 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 for example. But imagine if you do it with your intonations. Everyone, I have 3 important messages that could lead you to great success. The first thing to get to success is preparation. So, and so on and so forth. So basically, what I'm telling you, intonation basically creates the sense of important, of urgency. So if you're doing your voice, make sure you have ups and downs. For example, if you tell your message a sad story, for example, your voice will lower down. Hi everyone. I have a very sad stories today. I just, my neighbor just passed away. I'm it's very sad because just yesterday I just see my neighbors and they smile at me. But then this morning, for example, guys, for example, you can feel if I do lower my voices, it correlate with your message. So use your voice based on the context of your message. All right, John, everyone, all good? All right, we'll continue to the last part. It's the verbal. It's basically the substance of your speech. Always make sure your substance have this structure. There's an opening, there's a body, there's a closing. Some people said it's the hook, the points, the solution. Some people also use this thing that they use in debate. It's called, I forgot the name, but in debate, they also use it as well. But at the end of the day, opening, body, and closing. What you do in your opening of your speech, before you start your speech, try to get their people's attention. So you can do that by having an analogy or by having a quote. For example, you get into a room, John, with full of everyone here, and then you basically said, Nelson Mandela once said that peace only happened when blah, 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 blah. For example, you start your speech on that point. So what you're currently doing is you try to get people's attention. Like, what? Okay, what is this guy saying? That's your first job in doing speeches. Not by, for example, okay, hello everyone, greetings. I'm roughly, and I'm currently in the third grade, and blah blah blah, and I want to present to you something about peace. Those things is very boring because everyone, this concept is the same as TikTok. When you see TikTok, the first 3 seconds, if you don't interested with the videos, you go scroll up, right? But in speeches, it works the same thing. When you don't get people's attention in 3 seconds, people will open their phone and get to their own things. So if you want to get their attention, do something unique, do something, hook them up in the opening. And then we'll continue, John and everybody, to body. Body is basically the substance. What is the point that you want to set? For example, if you want to say that in writing, we need to understand the research as well, blah blah blah. So you try to convey a message that you think it's important to for the audience. For example, the body that I'm currently having in this presentation is this substance. So I'm currently explaining the whole concept in the body part. And then after I finish explain everything, I will end up with the closing. So I suggest to everyone to use these 3V models so that they could incorporate this in their real life and they could improve their speech. That's closing. So basically, you have to use this three structure: opening, body, and closing. This is the 3V of speech, and it will help you do more in your speech. And I'll be continuing with the next tips and tricks. It's diplomacy. But I would like to ask to anyone here, one is an Indonesian and the other is non-Indonesian, I believe. I really expect to you guys to answer, what is diplomacy in your understanding, in your own words? Anyone want to try? And you know, I prefer if there's in Indonesian some one person and one is outside from Indonesia. So please, anyone? I know, right? The third session always be the hardest session, John. Everyone is hungry. Is that even a questions? Okay, it's not. I know, right? So anyone like to ask questions? Sorry, questions. Would like to answer this. What is diplomacy in your understanding? Okay. All right. What I see here. Oh, John, thank you for the help. Let's get through this. Yes, yes. What do you think? You are still muted, John.
It's like the way of managing international relations and negotiating the agreement between the countries like Indonesia and South Sudan. So yeah, you have to it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, John, for the answer. Anyone would like to try? What do you basically can Google it and try to answer it as well. Then okay. I think someone answered to the chat box. Thank you so much. For me, basically, this is from Patricia. For me, diplomacy is building and maintaining international relations with people from other countries. Also, it refers to building policy that is beneficial and such. Thank you, Patricia. You basically give the opening of my presentations. So, diplomacy in its own self basically is a sorry, I have to slide. Yep, is a method of influencing the decisions or behavior of foreign governments and people in the way of dialogue, negotiation, and other measures to mitigate the possibility of war or violence. It's very closely related to diplomat. So diplomacy is a method. Because it's a method, it needs and it requires a strategy to make sure that it works. Because at the end, in the world itself, there is only two ways of resolving problems. The first way is war, which has happened throughout our history. The second thing is diplomacy. And this is what we prefer to make the world in the situation of peace. So diplomacy is the ongoing dialogue, and we can see this basically in the UN itself. It's a platform for diplomacy. And then we'll continue with the diplomat. A diplomat is someone who is in the business of actually building and maintaining relationship. So diplomat is the actor on doing diplomacy. And I think this is one of the most important part of my presentation today is the approach. So imagine you are in the MUN, you are going to do your first negotiation what you have to do is you remember this principle. This principle always works every time in the MUN and also in the real life. So when you meet with people, understand that when you open the heart, the mind follows. How to actually open someone's heart. So, okay, the words change, but it's the same thing. Um, First thing, start with smile, like this, for example. So you get into the room, start with smile to everyone. Basically, what you're really doing is you give a signal that you are a very open person and you are ready to cooperate. Imagine if you get into the sessions and then your face like, and that's who wants to work with you with those faces, right, John? Do you want to work with those faces? You do? No? I know, right? Nobody wants to work with someone who doesn't smile at the beginning. So open with smile. And then when you continue doing your negotiation, listen first. This is basically the technique. So when they are currently in groups and then you see one person there and you ask them, "Hi, delegate of Malaysia. We would like to hear your opinions on the issue of South China Sea. What do you think?" Blah, blah, blah. So you try to listen. You try to understand, oh, Malaysia believe that the nine dash line between the China's and other countries is something that should be addressed under international law, blah, blah, blah. That's the part of you listen. And then after you listen, appreciate the delegates. Thank you so much, Delegate of Malaysia, for giving out your understanding of your perspective. We, the Delegate of Indonesia, we also believe in the importance of international law. And by doing so, we agree that we need to blah, 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 so we can blah, 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 blah. So by doing this, John and everyone, you open someone's heart. You open the Delegate of Malaysia heart by smiling, by listen, and then by appreciate the delegate's position. This is the approach. This is the single way you try to get someone's heart. And by saying heart, meaning that later on this delegate could be members of your bloc, of your allies, and later on will help you on the voting procedure, voting sessions. So this is the simple technique. Let's train everyone. Please, if you're still on cam now, let's see how you smiling. Okay, this is a training, a bit of training. I'm going to look to each one of you, and let me close this screen first to see everyone with doing their smile. And I'm going to record this. So everyone, let's see your smile. Okay, here's John here from South Sudan. That's basically the smile of diplomacy, and the MC as well in here. And I think the audience, there's Agnes there, and everyone. I'm not sure about this guy named Tivani Verdaus. I think this is just an image, but yeah, I can say everyone here. Oh, there's also Sophia there. Where is your diplomacy smile? Are you there? Okay, okay. I think so. Some of you can train. Okay. Oh, this is. Oh, I can see this faces. Oh, okay. Shireel there, Prilly there, and Kelly, David also there. I cannot really see your smile there, but I'm seeing you. Okay, I can. I think everyone can do this diplomacy smile, and we're going to train a bit. We're going to train a bit, but it's the most important thing in diplomacy. Let's continue to the topic, shall we? And we'll continue with the next thing that you have to do in diplomacy. And this works in MUN and in real life as well. So the second thing is when you do the negotiation, you have to build trust. But remember, trust is earned, not given. Context-wise, is sorry, I don't know if there's someone here. Please unmute that guy. I'm currently presenting here. All right. So building trust is earned. So this is in the context of negotiation when you have a group discussion and such. First thing first, be knowledgeable. Doing your research. Already have an answer for every questions in the study guide. So if you be knowledgeable, people will come to you because people trust that you can solve the problem. So for example, you can see this guy here and behind the word trust, everyone basically focus on him because he is probably knowledgeable. he basically can answer every question that this block can have. So people will get their trust to that guy. And then the second thing is, for example, when discussing the topic and people give you their perspective, if the perspective is something aligned or agreeable to you, you validate the perspective. Thank you so much. For example, delegate of, you know, delegate of Timor-Leste comes to you and delegate Timor-Leste said, delegate of Indonesia, we also believe blah, 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 should be blah, 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 and we should blah, blah, blah. And then you as delegate of Indonesia, yes, delegate of Timor-Leste, we also believe in blah, 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 blah. We should do this, blah, 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 and make that blah, blah, blah. So by validating the perspective means that you are in the same table, you are in the same path, and those will get Timor-Leste to trust you and get on with your block. And there is other alternative. For example, imagine if delegate of Timor-Leste have a different ideas and it's not aligned with your ideas. What you can do here is, of course, first of all, appreciate the ideas. For example, delegate of Timor-Leste say blah, 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 and then delegate of Indonesia, you basically see said, thank you so much, delegate of Timor-Leste, for the insight. However, our discussion somehow is not very focused upon what you are saying there, because the other issues here is if we blah 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 blah, we still have to blah blah blah. So by saying this, we think that your solution is something that needs to be reevaluated, and you can see our solution here. And if this something fit to you, we are very open to discuss. So by doing that, you earn trust. They don't give it to you, but you earned it. All right, everyone, where's your smile? Okay, we'll continue. Thank you, John. Okay, we'll continue with how to maintain relationship. I think there is someone participant asked questions in the speaker before me. Is how to maintain our relationship throughout the MUN itself. So basically, when you are in the conference, you have to be tough on issue, but later on, when the conference ends, soft on people, tough on issues, soft on people. How to do that? Basically, treat everyone with respect. When you get into the meeting room, basically say everyone hi, hi, hi to everyone. Writing notes to everyone. What I do here, there's a technique, and I mean, each time we communicate with other delegates is by through notes, right? So I write like 40 notes saying, hi delegate, you have a very good speech, blah, 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 blah. And each time the delegate end their speech, I give the message to the delegate, so everyone will have me treat them with respect. And then after the session ends, I get to this delegate and I give constructive feedback. I basically said, delegates, I believe this is something that we, both of us, can improve in the future. So you don't say, this is what you can improve in the future. You say what we, because people, when they feel like this is something that's full of improvement between both of us, they will feel like we are together. So it will make them more comfortable hearing your input, your constructive. But if you said, delegate, I think this is what you need to improve, basically you create a sense of they are doing mistake and you kind of being that guy that's smartest that try to improve. No, basically say we can improve this further. And then the last thing is empathy. Empathy is basically feeling the same way within the delegate. For example, if the delegates is beginners, treat them, try to help them, position yourself with them. Oh, this delegate needs blah blah blah. This delegate needs blah blah blah. So blah blah blah. So get to them, connect them with a lot of help. And then if it's experience, try to learn from them as well. This is how you maintaining relations with an MUN, inside and outside after an MUN. So I think I'll get to the end of my sessions. I believe I bit overtime there, but my message is you have to treat people the way you want to be treated. Everyone, John, and everyone in here. My message is very clear. I want you, in whether in MUN or in real life, you have to treat people the way they want to be treated, because that is basically how you get the respect. That is how diplomacy works, and that is how you change the world. So treat everyone with respect and treat people the way you want to be treated. I think that will be the end of my sessions. Thank you so much for being here, for hearing me, John, and everyone for giving the attentions. And if you want to reach me out, I'm in Instagram. You can check Rafian si Paling Hai. I also have Spotify. Yeah, I know it. You can check si Paling Hai talk show series. And if you need my product and services, it's there in this link. There's a contact person, and my website is there. And yep, remember the offer is still still there if you want to get the free books. Record upon these sessions and let me know what's your testimony with using the hashtag. That should be it. I'll give the floor to the moderator. Thank you so much for having me, everyone, and I'll look forward to the Q&A.
All right, thank you so much to Kara Fiancia for presenting such a good material and good tips for us. For example, how to do diplomacy smile. Now I know how to do a diplomacy smile. So now we're gonna open the Q&A session. If you have questions regarding the material presented, please share your question in the chat column, guys. All right, we have a first question here. It's from Aminina again.
Okay.
Okay, thank you,
Please.
sis. Let me introduce myself. My name is Aminina from the University of North Sumatra. Permission to ask beforehand. What should be done to build strong alliance during MUN? Gitu. Thank you, sis.
Okay. Thank you too, sis. All right. I'll answer the questions directly. So, how to build alliance in MUN? Basically, blocks. So, how to build alliance? Of course, I'll give you the techniques already, diplomacy and such, and try to make sure you reach out to everyone, even though they are different blocks than you, different perspective than you, but show them respect because people respect each other when they give it. So when you treat people the way you want to be treated, you will get respect, even though they disagree with you, but they respect you. And pretty much if they align with you, they will follow you within your alliance. So, Aminina, my answer is use the technique that I've been given, the smile and such, and make sure you try to connect with them, hear them, listen to them, and respect them. That should be helpful to build the alliance itself. Hope it helps. Okay, I'll continue with the next questions, yeah, Tahara and such. Aisha, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Sir Rafi Alianza, for the opportunity to ask my question. So my question is, what strategies can delegate employ to overcome cultural biases and foster effective communication in diverse MUN environment? That's my first question. For the second question is, how can delegates effectively use motions to control the flow of debate and be sure that their voices are heard in an MUN conference? Thank you.
Okay, wow, such a deep question. I don't expect that. Okay, but I think for the first question about cultural bias, I think bias happens if there is no facts, no data and such. So Aisha, if you want to convey your message in the later on in MUN to address some biases and such, only give real data, real facts, real fact sheets, real numbers, because those thing is more than bias. If someone used, like for example, we also believe USA always done this because they always being violent, for example, we are blah blah blah. But give the data. Give the data. For example, you're a delegate of USA, you give this delegate basically give a bias information. We have the data here, we don't have exact blah 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 blah, and we can do this more in the future. So bias can be overthrown by data. That's the first thing, Aisha. And for the second question, can you repeat a bit? I don't want to miscommunicate it. In short, what is your second
Sure.
question?
Wait. So, how can delegates effectively use motions to control the flow of debate and
Okay.
be sure that their voices are heard in an MUN conference? Because there are where the delegates feel that their voices are not heard in an MUN conference. There is some condition that delegates feels like that sometimes.
Okay. To be heard in the motion and such. First, of course, you have to make sure the motion is relevant. How to know if the motion is relevant? So, Aisha, this is the first thing that you have to do. In the first committee session, let's evaluate everyone's understanding. Like, what do you think their level? Is there a beginner? Some of them is intermediate and such. When you understand that, for example, there is more beginner in the council, try to give a motion that is easy for them to be included, to join. So, for example, give challenges each country face for blah 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 blah. Those kind of motion is something that everyone can speak, right? And this thing is how everyone will engage more. The second thing is use this 3V that I have already told you. Basically, those things to get people's attention, and those things will help you getting more peoples to contribute. But the third thing, answer the question in the karmas and make sure that why this issue is your answer is answering the karmas. For example, so when you are in the motions, for example, everyone delegates. One question that we have to answer is how to navigate our position within this issue. This is something in the karmas. And then you basically said, to navigate, we need to collaborate further between North country and South countries, blah, 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 in order for blah, blah, blah to work. So you address the main problems within the karmas. That will get people's attention and that will get people to collaborate further because that is something that everyone wants to solve. So those thing is something that you have to direct yourself, try to answer directly what the issue is already been told in the karmas, in the study guide, and those is the way people will actually listen to you because it means to them as well. That should be it, Aisha. I wish you the best of luck.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer.
Thank you. And
So
okay,
much.
I'll make sure. Yeah, thank you so much. I'll make sure to answer everyone. Yeah, Farah, please.
Hi, I'm sorry if it's a bit noisy because I'm currently outside. My question is regarding blocks. What if in a block, you are in a block with a country whose country agreements or country rules doesn't align with what your block is going for in the draft resolutions? What should you do in that situation?
Okay, if you have the other block doesn't align with your position, what should you do? First of all, differences is fine. Differences is okay. It should be there in the first place. But the most important thing, Farah, in MUN is argument. Is when you have a differences, try to find the loopholes in the other block's position. For example, the block said that in order to solve this problem of a humanitarian law, humanitarian issues, we have to get up with the humanitarian law, blah, blah, blah. And then you know that their argument have some flaws. Humanitarian law sometimes having double standard by Western countries, for example. Try to address that. If you say humanitarian law, but politics is still the biggest factors, what does it even matter, for example, for this to work? Because politics is beyond humanitarian law, for example. So what you have to do is now is to convince a group of countries with big political powers to actually have the same interests to do blah 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 blah. So you offer something by actually addressing their loopholes. Those things will help influence the other block that they have to reevaluate their solution and basically make your solution even stronger to your own block. So this is what you have to do. Evaluate other blocks loopholes and make sure your argument is relevant for them to understand. Because at the end of the day, when they evaluate their position, it will help you to get more trust. That should be it. Thank you, Farah. I'll continue with Shairil. Silakan.
Right. Thank you so much for the opportunity. All right, let me introduce myself. My name is Hairil Randi Rahman. I am from the state of University of Riau. And my question is about how do you prepare for the unexpected issues or the crisis during a crisis in the committee session? Thank you so much.
Okay. First of all, no one prepare for a crisis. Like crisis has happened under the name of crisis for a reason, because it's unprepared. But I always make sure one thing, Hairil, and my research, sorry, in doing all of this crisis is I'm making sure my research is right. So crisis happens because, for example, the chairs want to test your argument. For example, you said that in order to solve financial issues, we have to have several helps from Western countries or blah blah blah, and the chair will make a crisis to challenge your argument. So what you have to do is you have to answer towards those challenges by doing your research, by your previous research. So I always think your research will always be your main capacity, your main goal in order to survive in any crisis, because crisis happens to test your argument. Basically, a follow-up questions from whether the chairs or such to test your argument, and you have to reinforce your argument to be strong in order for them to, oh, okay, this delegate actually understand how the crisis and answering the crisis as a whole. So make sure you do your research. All right, Ariel? That should be it. And we'll continue with Sofia.
All right. Thank you so much. I will just ask, how can we avoid being stiff and nervous in conveying our voices to the Model United Nations delegation?
Okay. Thank you, Sophia. This is something that happens every day when doing your speeches. You have nervous, you have, blank and such, right, Sophia? But I want to let you know, the best analogy that I found in doing speech or public speaking is, imagine public speaking is like gym. It's like lifting, getting up, those things. If you are not doing that before, it will feel very heavy. For example, you get to 50 people, and imagine if this is in the gym, you lifting a 50 kilograms of those things. It will feel very heavy, right? But if you do it, somehow your muscle will be much more stronger, and later on you can grab the 50 kilograms of those things in the gym. Imagine it's the same concept with public speaking and speech. So you start with talking to 10 people's, in your class, in your school, in your university, and then continue talk with 20 people, 30 people. Imagine themselves like a kilogram. And when in MUN, when you face 50 people delegate, and when previously you have faced 50 people before in your university, it will feel like nothing. It will be feeling like, oh, nervous is something you can face because you get used to it. So in public speaking and speech, it's the issue of getting comfortable being in the public. So how to get that is to get used to that. So try face the nervousness. It will help you later on to understand what you should do in the future. So I think my greatest tips is to get used to it, and try to see room for improvement later on, and get mentor will help you in improving your nervousness. That will be it. And
Uh,
yes,
all right. Thank you, sir.
thank you so much, Sophia. And last is from John. Please, name and where are you from? You are unmuted, please. You are still muted, John, please.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I will not talk much. I want to know, as you said before, maybe there are three type of voice. Like when you are giving a speech. So as we know that we have different type of nature, maybe different type of voice, or maybe if you have maybe low voice, and others may have a high voice and has a medium one. So, and the first one, which one do you recommend for us to use as during the speech? Is it a medium voice, or the large voice, or the small one? So that one I want to know, because maybe most of the places I used to give the speech, and others maybe some of the audience they confused. Actually, I don't know. Is it my voice? Is it slow, or is it I give the high voice, or is it the misunderstanding of the speech? I don't know. So that one I want to know. And then the second one is like, as you said before, you have to treat the people the way they treat you. So what if the people like the people you have they treat you badly? Do you revenge treat them badly badly, or what will you do? As you said that in Roman in Roman chapter 12 verse 19, it said that do not do not revenge the people who treat you badly. So what should we do? Should we leave those people, or we treat them as the same they do for me or for us? Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, John from South Sudan, that comes here to this seminar. I appreciate it very much, and I congratulate people of this event, University of Riau, to convey the economic faculty and such. So the answer for your first question, John, is about intonation. What should I recommend? Context-wise, I think when you start the session, see the issue is something is hard politics for it. Sorry, it's is it what we call sensitive issue or non-sensitive issue? For example, if the issue is about war, about humanitarian issue, try to get your voice the high one because you state the urgency. If we don't do this, more people will be blah 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 blah. So raise your voice if the issue is something humanitarian law and such. But if, for example, if the issue is economic education, you can go from mid, medium. So in order for an economic or education to be improved, we must address 2 to 3 blah 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 blah. So John, the answer is context wise. Use the context. Is it an urgency or not? You decide on your own, but usually the issue including humanitarian laws and those things is something you have to hire your voice, and then something if like soft like educations and economy you can in the medium. And for example, if the issue is very sad, you can use your low voice to create a sense of um, sadness so that delegates could feel it the same way. And the second thing within your questions, we said treat people the way you want to be treated, but then the people treated you back badly or negatively. What should you do? My answer, John, is it's beyond your control. So when you treat people the way you want to be treated, you show respect, you show empathy and such. If the people doesn't do it back, it's very much fine. It's on them. It's on their issue. So I recommend, John, still the same way. You have to treat people the way you want to be treated, even though they don't treat you back the same way, but you show your class. You show how you are as a person. And those things is the quality that people seek in the real world, in life itself. So remember to treat people the way you want to be treated, because in the world full of issues and challenges, you are basically the quality that should always be there. So I think that should be it, John. Thank you so much. We are different continent, but you give your time to be here, and I appreciate all of those efforts. Thank you, John.
I'm seeing here. Yeah.
Yes. And I'll give it back to MCs. I think the time has elapsed, and very sorry for everyone. Enjoy your makan siang. Hope this thing, you can get something. Only one thing or two things, that's pretty much fine. I'll give back to the moderator. Thank you.
All right, that's all for our last Q&A session. Thank you so much to Kara Friansha for giving amazing material exposure. It's such a fun session, Ka, and we got a lot of knowledge. And I hope all the participants can get the benefit and apply all the things that you get today for your MUN experience later. All right, we already hear a lot of things about Model United Nation from our three speakers. You guys have been here for like almost 3 hours. I'm sure that all of you here are already bored and want this webinar to end ASAP. But before the closing, we already prepare a fun game for you all. So in this game, you're gonna have to guess a country. So There will be the question and a blurred picture of the country, and you have to guess what country described in the question. So I hope you guys, all the participants here can participate. The rule of the game is you must type your answer in the chat column after I count in 1, 2, 3. So you can start your answer when I already say 3, okay? And we all gonna check who gets the right answers. So please participate actively in the session. Okay? Do you guys understand about the rules? If you guys understand, please give me a reaction or type in the chat column, please. Okay, are you guys ready for the first game question? Ready. Okay. You guys are ready. Okay. We're gonna start the first question, please. Okay. This country is often referred to as the land of the maple leaf. A. Canada. B. Japan. C. China. Wait. Guys, I haven't counting. Please take the rules. Okay, but because you guys already answer, okay. You guys answer Canada, 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 Canada. Okay, is it true? Okay. We're gonna check in the next slide. All right, it's true. All your question here is true. The right answer is Canada. Okay, for the second question, please answer after I count. Okay, so I will count in 1, 2, 3, and you'll answer when I already say 3. Okay. All right, we're gonna next to the next question. Okay, the question. This country is widely recognized as the birthplace of yogurt and also known as the land of roses. Turkey, Greece, or Bulgaria? Okay, there's different answer here. There are the people that say it's Greece, and there are the one that say it's Bulgaria. Which one is true? Is it Greece? Is it Bulgaria? And there are the ones that say it's Turkey. Okay, which one is true? Okay. C is true. Is it? You didn't count, ma'am. It's because you already answered before I count, guys. Okay, it's okay. Okay, we're gonna check in the next slide. Okay, the answer is Bulgaria. Okay, next question. This country is home. Wait. This country is home to the Amazon rainforest, and Amazon River, one of the best icons in the Chris the Reader State too. All right. Brazil, C. Okay, I haven't count, and you guys already answer. Okay, Brazil. Okay, we're gonna check in the next slide, please. Yep, it's true, Brazil. You guys are true. You got the correct answer. Okay. Next question. Largest archipelago nation in the world known for its beautiful beaches and tropical island. Which country is this? Okay. Thank you for participating so actively. Okay, B, Indonesia. Okay. Is it true? Is it correct? Isn't it Spanish, guys? Okay, this one, Indonesia. Okay. Okay, we're gonna check in the next slide. Indonesia. Okay. You guys got the correct answer. Okay. Do we have another question? Yeah. All right, this is the last question, guys. Popular tourist destinations include Boracay, Palawan, and Cebu. The Sinulog Festival is one of the most famous festivals in this country. What is the answer? Okay, you guys answer A, Philippines. Okay. All right, thank you so much for answering. We will check the answer in the next slide. Okay, Philippines. This is the right answer. Congrats to you all that answer the correct answer. Okay. Okay, that's all the end for our ice-breaking session. I hope you guys have fun in our short game session. Okay, the next agenda is the certificate handover session. First, we're gonna hand over the e-certificate to our third speaker. We actually have to hand over this certificate for our first speaker and second speaker, but because our previous speaker cannot attend until the end of the event, so we're gonna just hand over the certificate for our third speaker, which is Kak Rafliansyah. All right, maybe we can do the documentation. We're gonna count in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, Tahara, can I have a request?
Yes, Kak.
So basically, when I end my session, I always have this tagline, and if you guys can help me out with this, it will be helpful. So the tagline is bersama si paling HI kita bumikan HI. It's an Indonesia, sorry, but basically said when we are with me, si paling HI will help spreading international relation knowledge. So when I say bersama si paling HI, you, the audience, can say kita bumikan HI. Will you help me on doing that, everyone?
Alright, okay.
Yes?
Everyone please, apakah ini bakal open mic aja, Kak?
Yes,
Semuanya?
everyone just open your mic, and basically
Okay.
when I said bersama si paling hai, everyone basically said kita bumikan hai. I will record this. You'll be in my Instagram, so please make sure to help out John and everyone. Okay,
Okay.
I'm going to say it in 3, 2, 1. Bersama si
Sama si
paling
paling
hai.
HI, kita
Bumikan
HI.
Wow.
bumikan hi.
Oh, that voice. And John, would you like to say it? Kita bumikan hai. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate the session, and I look forward to see you guys in the future. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Kak. Alright. With the end of the e-certificate handover session, my role in guiding our discussion session today also ends. I thank you so much and apologize for any mistakes that may have been made. I'm Tahara Ananta Putri. As a moderator, would like to say thank you and good afternoon, everyone. I return it to our Master of Ceremony. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right, thank you, Tahara, for accompanying us and becoming a really great moderator today. And also thank you for our amazing speaker, Mr. Jose Nelsigia, Mrs. Isadora Monteiro, and Mr. Raflian Shah. I hope from what our speaker said, we will get benefit from it. Our last agenda is the announcement of the most active participants. We already have one name. So, are you guys excited? Please give me a reaction if you are excited. Yes. All right. So, the most active participants is congratulations to Farah Ataya from SMAN 14. Congratulations, Farah has been the most active participant today. Our
Thank
company
you so
will
much.
contact you via WhatsApp. Once again, congratulations to Farah and enjoy your gift. Our honorable audience, with the end of the announcement of the most active participants, it also became the end of our series of events today. Before we ended this meeting, I want to remind you again about all the participants are expected to fill in the Google form link that has been sent as proof of attendance of this webinar, because certificates can only be obtained for those who have filled in the Google form link. We will give you 2 minutes to who still haven't filled the link. Once again, I remind you guys to fill in the Google form links to prove your attendance to this Zoom webinar. We will give you 2 minutes for who still didn't fill the link yet. So I represent the committee, apologize if there are any mistakes in holding this event. I'm Nadira Shakila as the Master of Ceremony of Webinar Model United Nations. Thank you and good afternoon, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.